Hi there, you're at the Cardano Wyckoff technical analysis session, and this week we have a red candle, but it's actually a good sign for the bullish team because if you look at the chart here, is actually a very long wick at the bottom, meaning there are quite a number of bulls pushing the price up, getting the candle or the price to stay at where the yellow key level is. That is around 0.95. So it's slightly lower than that number now, but as you know, I've mentioned many times that this is a range, not a definite, like just one number. So I would consider it still within this key level as of this moment. If it really stays stable above the yellow, then the path to the upthrust would be more solid. So let's dive in deeper and see what other indications we get. So from the volume perspective, it has been higher than end of July and early August, and even higher than mid-late July. So that's a positive sign for the bulls. Even this week's volume bar is red, like I explained in the beginning. There were quite a bit of bulls pushing the price up, so even if the candlestick closed a bit lower, then it may not be a big challenge. Just that there may still be a chance for the price to come down to test the bottom edge of this upward channel box before it eventually bounces up again. So let's consider that possibility. And if we check the Bollinger Band current squeeze, previously there was a squeeze and then the price come to where we are now, and then the squeeze, I would consider it not over yet, especially if it continues to trade sideways. There would be a subsequent squeeze. So last time we had a bigger squeeze was back in fourth quarter last year. That's when the buying climax happened, and then eventually getting to where we are now, we have another squeeze. So this squeeze, while there has been some energy release because the past 6 weeks we had quite a bit of price surge, it seems it's not over yet, because when we compare what happened over here, yeah, even though the energy has been released, the purple went way outside of the orange when the price eventually shot to where the buying climax was. But the volume back then was way higher than what we have now. So this has to catch up in order for a similar scenario to happen. As of now, it's not as promising as in November, December last year. But still staying positive as long as the price is still traveling within this upward channel box. So from the big picture perspective, it hasn't really changed much for the upward trend, and for these channel box, is expected for the price to bounce inside the box either sideways or up and down. That's totally normal. So to the micro view, previously we asked would that be an upthrust, and now it has been confirmed that what we have seen last week during this session was actually the upthrust point, not that it has gone any further up. But now it looks it hasn't been over yet, right? So if we have an AR, automatic reaction, for buying climax, that's the AR2 for upthrust. So that's how I named them, even though the textbook Wyckoff definition doesn't have officially say there's an AR2 or AR3. I named them so that you can relate that this is a similar thing as this one, just that the 2 is for upthrust, the 3 is for upthrust after distribution. So now, this point, would that just be the LPSY, the last point of supply, or is it going to really go up next week and then turn that LPSY into a UTAD instead. So that is something that needs to be, or needs time to unveil. So I'll put in the tag over here and quickly draw a dashed line to see where the level is heading to. So we just use the near term since the sign of weakness bounce up. Okay, that's about right. So roughly this point, that's mid-September, if the current price still trades in the next 2 weeks within this triangle, then eventually when we get to first week or beginning of second week of September, the price has to break out. So either it has to shoot up to test the green level as well as showing us an upwards of the distribution in the daily chart, or it has to fall outside of this upward support line, this dashed yellow line over here. So it's only within 2 weeks time that we have to wait for this to see this happening. And like I said, if in the weekly it is going upwards, then in the daily, then that there's no choice that the price has to follow. I'll keep this dashed line at the daily interval only, because the weekly we have already got the channel box going on. So I just want to align the two so it's easier for you to follow. So maybe I set the channel box to appear in the daily as well, just to adjust it a little so we can see it brackets all the actions, whether it's the peaks or the troughs. So now even if this comes down outside of the dashed line, this triangle, there's still another triangle over here that the price can still trade above or within this upward channel box, and the second time point will be near the end of September. So the first one is the first or beginning of second week of September. The other is around the 26th, 27th of September. So these two time points will be critical depending on how it evolves over the next 2 weeks. And eventually, upwards of the distribution for time like daily time frame, or coming back down to a sign of weakness when we get to that time point over here. So let me put it right there so to align the time points. Volume perspective, here that's the worrying part I have when I look at the chart. This very tall volume bar over here, even though it's like going up, I mean it's not red, but looking at the candlestick, that wick is massive, so meaning there are some people actively selling at that point. So would that be whales offloading their stock in hand to people FOMOing in? That's one possibility. So be cautious even if the price is to climb. There may be a chance that the final round of distribution has somehow happened. So while we hope for the UT to come, it may not be that case. So just while maintaining positivity, I would say be careful what comes next, because this really worries me over here, that crazy volume over here all of a sudden, that doubles or more than double for, look at this, for how long? Since March. So since March all the way till now, we did not have a volume bar that high. So there must be something abnormal that happened, and I've already mentioned one possibility, that the big players were offloading to the smaller ones going in. So be careful if that's the case. So this LPSY may eventually realize and then comes down for a sign of weakness in the daily time frame, while for the weekly it will exhibit the same. So I'll say for now is, to me, is like 50-50, or maybe even 40-60. So I'll say 40 over here, 60 towards this side. Yeah, not a good news for the bulls, or if you're in the bull team. For the bear team, this may be an opportunity, but we never know, because if I look at the Bollinger Band current squeeze, if the squeeze is really going to happen, and the price is right now at the top of the channel, the likelihood of it coming down may be higher than going up, much like what we have seen during the buying climax. So with these multiple indications that we are seeing, that's the probability I'm putting in right over there. So finger crossed whether you are a bull or a bear.